not sustain at university, it means we have a big problem. The design in terms of how we're doing subjects, so I also don't want to get to that, but we also discovered that there's a design problem which we're trying to fix. But program director, as the president of the league, I think if I just speak on education also, I think that's the reason you called me, amongst other ministers also. You could have invited any other minister, perhaps except that you really want to talk about education. I think I'd like to say a few things before I leave here, and really do request people that, I think as Kofi Annan had said, that education, there is no tool for development more effective than education for girls. That there's no policy that is likely to raise economic productivity, lower infant mortality, and improve nutrition and promote health, and help to prevent all forms of diseases more than education. So indeed, it is, I think, fitting that we have prioritized that we also, as part of the legacy, we want to see how as women, we can make sure that we join this campaign of making education a priority, but also of making a societal issue. But I think just going back, because we're talking about this thing during the Women's Month, to say what are the things that we've picked up so that as we build our legacy, as this current generation, what are the things that ourselves should take forward and learn from the past generations? Each time I read literature on even this march alone and the struggles that preceded that, I think the importance of organizing and standing for what you believe is quite crucial, and sustaining whatever war you have embarked on. The struggles of 1956 were launched as early as 1913. It was the past laws which we introduced in 1912. And women resisted them, continued to organize them. 50 years or 40 years down the line, government tried to bring them back. And because women were organized, they were able to really withstand and fight it. So it means it's a long, long road, but it needs organization, it needs focus, and it needs us to be to really sustain our struggles. It shows that our struggles can't be an overnight thing. It shows that battles, like the battle in education, won't be an overnight thing. Hence, we say school in 2015. Because all these battles are not won overnight. But what is important is organizing, and focus all the time. The other thing is good leadership also, that we see from these struggles. Because if you look at the combination of people who lead that, 1913, it was Maxeke, a very outstanding woman. So it means for us it's very important to recognize the best in us, support them, because indeed they will lead us to better life. Around 1953, it was Lillian Ngoyi who was in the forefront. Again, a very capable woman, very bright, very brave, who led these struggles. So I think good leadership is very important, that we should consciously nurture women leadership, support it, because that's the way out. But also is to take action and not allow anything to go wrong and pass without us challenging it. If anything goes wrong, we have to stand up immediately and do something about it. When it was announced in 1955 that passes will be introduced in 1956, immediately those women organized from 1955 October and culminated in 1956. That we have to take action immediately. And one of the last requests I want to take, Chair, in taking advantage of this platform is the whole question about testing and of counseling and testing. I've spoken about other millennium goals and say we're doing quite well, but we have a big crisis with maternal deaths and infantile mortality. And it's not accidental that we have lots of women dying. It's because of the burden of disease that our nation is carrying. We have lots of young people who live with HIV and AIDS, who live with all other diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, who don't know until such time that they're going to deliver. And that leads to high mortality rate amongst women. So it's very important for us as mothers, as women, to spread the word to say, let all of us take responsibility and be tested so that we can manage the conditions we find ourselves in. And we're confident if we do succeed in this counseling and testing exercise, we will be able to manage child mortality and the high mortality amongst women and infantile mortality. The reason we are losing lots of kids before the age of 1 is because of kids who are born ill with a very compromised immune system. The slightest germ or anything just takes those kids. Again, it has to do with counseling and testing, because if people get cancer test before time and it's discovered that they live with the virus, they get treatment immediately to protect those children. And the war against high mortality rates among women and children can only be won if we win this campaign on testing and counseling. Otherwise, we have a huge crisis as a country. It's a time bomb. We can't ignore it. I don't think we make enough noise about it, but it has reached crisis stages. We have provinces like KZN where 40%, in some regions, 40% of women who present themselves in hospitals have the virus. So which means every second young woman has the virus. And it creates a very difficult situation for us as a country, where our young women, at the prime of their lives, we lose them. And I always say to men, it's now in their interest that they have to make sure that they support us, especially on this one. Because we're going to reach a stage where there are more men than women, and there'll be blood on the floor. We can survive without them. We've survived. And I've said in some instances we've even shared them, and we've survived. But I don't think they'll survive this current trend that we're in, where we're going to find that there are more men than women. And therefore, this campaign around testing and counseling, Chair, I think is very important, and I really will request that as part of the legacy, let's not leave a legacy where in front of our eyes we had a very unnatural disaster. I mean, the Minister for Health always says you can go to any species, from butterflies to elephants. There's always more women than men. But now, the rate at which we are losing young women because of maternal deaths, we're going to have a huge crisis if we don't stem this. And in closing, Chair, I really want to say our legacy as this current generation of women, it's for us to unite, never fail to take a stand and act on it. And I'm saying the most urgent one is around education and health. And if we can manage those two, I think we will get the results that we want and we will win. Thank you very much, Program Director.